Hi everyone, I'm Natalia. Welcome to my channel. I wanted to get on here and do an in-depth look and review at what has now become one of my absolutely favorite decks, MJ Cullinane, The Guardian of the Night Tarot. I also have three other tarot decks by MJ that I will briefly speak about, but primarily I'll be focusing on what I think and why this one is so incredibly special. Some of you have asked me to speak about this deck because I've been showing um, a lot of these cards on my Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, please do connect. I share a lot of cards on there. I also share book reviews. And so now that I've been working with this deck for, I think it's getting close to a month, maybe a little bit less, maybe 3 weeks, I'm now ready to speak about it. And my heart is like all excited about this because I find this deck so incredibly special. So before I start talking about the deck, and the copy of the deck I have is mass produced. MG initially did an indie run of this deck. So if you have an indie copy, your backs are going to be different. I also etched and trimmed my mass produced copy. And I think this deck is one of those top decks that are shine and vibrate and completely become something else when they are trimmed. So let me just briefly tell you the story about my introduction to MJ decks. Many of you know that MJ is very well known, mostly, I would assume, well known for this tarot deck. It came on a scene several years ago, became wildly popular in a tarot community. I was aware of this deck, and even though I absolutely adore and love crows, I did not get this deck because I'm one of those people who, when a lot of people love something, I go in another direction. So I never got this deck, even though I love crows. Another reason why I never got this deck is because to me, it seemed to be very right away Smith to a point where it was almost identical clone, except the humans had been swapped for crows. And so for me, when something is that close to a clone, it's a no-no personally. Well, recently I got it. And guess, for those of you who wonder what it would look like trimmed, I also trimmed mine because if you don't know yet, I am a complete trimmer and edger of decks queen. I crown myself as edger and trimmer queen. Oops, reverse. So this deck, when it came on the scene, I never picked up, and I know that a lot of people know MJ from this deck. She also has a Crow Urban Oracle deck that doesn't feel like my cup of tea. So I never really got this deck, and as a result, she was never MJ, and her artistic work was never on my radar. And because it was never on my radar, I had no idea that she was creating other decks. Well, recently I became friends with a wonderful person, wonderful woman, and she was asking me, what is your soul deck? And I said, da, those, of course. And I said, what are your soul deck? And she said, these are my three favorite decks. And among those three favorite decks was the Guardian of the Night. Now, a lot of you are probably the same way as I am. When we vibe with somebody, when we vibe with somebody's energy and personality, and then we see a deck that they love, well, chances are we're going to look up those decks because if we vibe with them, we're probably going to really vibe with the decks they like. So out of three decks, the one that just kind of nagged at me was Guardians of the Night. And I looked it up, and at first I thought, yeah, no, I don't think so. Because even though I loved the artwork, for me, it was a no-no because I enjoy having animals in tarot decks. I even to some extent prefer animals because I like them to associate and draw on the spirit energy or energetic essences of that animal as I work with the card. However, with animal decks, in my experience, it has been very, for me, redundant. Most animal decks, in my opinion, are using the same animals to represent the same archetypes. Bat to represent hanging man, right? So for me, over the time, I just got, like how many spiders weaving spider web to represent Wheel of Fortune am I going to see? I just lost that spark and excitement when it comes to animal tarot decks because of that particular thing. So knowing that I vibed with this wonderful woman, I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna, she loves this deck, I'm gonna give it a try. So I ordered it on Amazon. When it came, I knew that she wants to be trimmed. I just knew it. At this point, when you're queen of trimming, decks will just talk to you. They talk to me also. They're like, see me holding a knife immediately, and they're like, okay, go for it, give me a haircut. So I trimmed her immediately, and as I was trimming, I was paying attention to each one of the cards. And I trimmed and edged the deck before I even worked with it. And when I was trimming the deck, I was so, and look at this is not a hangman, this is high priestess in this deck. I was so captivated by few things. One, I was captivated by artwork, particularly the way MJ has a tendency to juxtapose large images to the forefront or to the background in regards to approaching to smaller images. There was something about it that made a card look very dynamic. It made it look very vibrant and alive. It just added so much energy to it. So the art immediately resonated with me. There was something about particular artwork that she did that, and I can't pinpoint the artist, but it tags on me as if something is quite familiar and yet unique in its own regard. I was immediately struck by choice of which animals she chose to represent, which archetypes. I was particularly struck by juxtaposition of some cards, not just having one animal, but two animals in a relationship to that archetype, which I thought was super clever. I love the concept that these are all nocturnal creatures. And I love that they were throughout the deck. Some animals do repeat. They have an occurrence several times throughout the deck. And I just love that thread, that connectivity throughout the deck. Now, MGA, as far as I know, I mean, this is indie deck, and all the decks I'll show you that I have from her are indie decks. And I know that right now she has been working on Raven's Dream, Liminal Force Oracle. She is also working on Crow Affirmation deck. And those decks, including Unfinished Ghost Business deck, indie, and as far as I understand, she has no interest whatsoever going mainstream. So if you're watching this and you're introduced to her artwork for the first time, keep in mind that the decks that she's working on and will be working on will be indie produced. But what I'll be showing you will be mass produced. She wrote in a booklet that she created this deck during when the COVID hit, and this deck really helped her as she was creating it, and the spirit of the animals really helped her heal and really helped her get through the difficult times and challenges that the COVID brought with it. And she really hopes that whoever looks at this deck or works with this deck can really sense and get that healing energy from it. And maybe it's because I am a psychologist, I work with people, I'm in a healing modality. Perhaps that's why I immediately clicked with this deck. This is going to be like one of my top, 5 decks in my collection that I absolutely adore and have an immediate connection with. Last time I had an immediate connection was with the deck, the Circle of Doors, which I adore. So I seldom have this like immediate click with a deck, and this was one of them. And perhaps it is because I can strongly sense this healing animals, this healing aspect of the deck. This deck, now before I go a little bit more in depth into this deck, let me share what else I have from MJ. So when I got this deck and I fell in love with this deck, obviously If you know me, you know that I have a tendency to obsess and I have a tendency to go down the rabbit hole. So I did went down the rabbit hole of MJ Cullinane, and I ended up getting look at this cover. For some reason, gives me Frida Kahlo vibe. I got her Grimalkin's Curious Cats there because I like cats and I love this deck too. It is very whimsical. They are, I have it right here. I etched mine in pink to become, this is also mass produced copy. Oh, this is a prankster deck, guys. This is such a um it's just like Fey Oracle, but Brian Frost Fey Oracle is complete tricksters. These are tricksters and pranksters in their own right. They come and they pull on me and they scratch on me, and they walk away, and then I'm all covered in cat's hair. They have a personality of their own, and I've been really enjoying working with this one too. I gotta say, Guardians of the Night has my heart. This one I really enjoyed too. And I know that MJ also has a dog fairy. So if you're a dog lover, check this out. When I got this one, I also was worried that this would be too Rider-Waite Smith rendition, but the way she writes the stories about each individual cat and how each individual cat is its own personality, the cat spirit really does comes through. So this is the second one that I got that I adore too. The next one that I got was is Enchanted for Haxa Tarot. This is all about Fae and Fae energy through the landscape of for Haxa. I itch mine. Also mass-produced deck. I'm not sure yet how I feel about it. I love this, has very fiery, very wild feminine, dark wild feminine energy in it. It is a very empowering deck. The challenge I have with this is that the artwork, while beautiful, is not my cup of tea. I'm realizing at this stage of tarot exposition that artworks that has small scale, with a lot of detail, is not my cup of tea. That I really like artwork that is big and in your face, and maybe doesn't have so many little details. Yeah, so I'm having a challenging time connecting to artwork, but I've been really enjoying reading with her. So this is another one that I have. And last one that I already shown is, of course, the crowd terrors that I trimmed. I still have a hard time connecting with this, guys. It's still very Rider-Waite Smith to me. And I think this is what's holding me back. I love crows, but this is still for me a no-go. I trimmed it, and a friend of mine said, well, maybe when you trim it, you'll feel better. No, not feeling any better. But this is what I have from MJ. I've seen the other decks that she's working on, the unfinished business that she is right now taking pre-orders on. It has ghost stories, spirits throughout it. It's artistically, it's not my cup of tea. The Raven's Dream is also not quite my cup of tea. I did order her crow. I did pre-order her crow affirmation deck because it sounded very interesting, and I did order her Lenormand deck that she also has from her herself because it's an indie publishing, because artistically artwork also appeals to me. But out of all of her decks, this one is well, this one stole my heart. These nocturnal creatures stole my heart. Since I've been working with this deck for a month, roughly about a month, the energy of this deck that I get is very earthy. The energy of this deck is also earth and fire together. It is very earthy in a sense that it is grounding and incredibly healing, but it is also this deck with me is confrontational. It confronts me. It puts up a lot of times mirror in front for me to confront things that I don't want to see in a gentle but very stern way. This deck also brings up things that I don't want to acknowledge. It is a deck that will hold me accountable. It is a deck that makes me face my own responsibility. How many of you have seen lovers depicted by two Scorpios? I haven't. Usually it is what, swans, dove, something like that. So this deck, and it reads very, very astute. It reads very spot on. So far, I've been working with this deck as I did a few spread readings, and then I've done some usually I do daily draw with circle of doors, which door do I need to go through, and then I ask which animal energy do I need to embrace or do I need to step in as I walk through the door. This is such a great trusted companion, but let me show you why I think that this deck is, I really think that this deck is very much unlike any other decks that I have from MJ. I can't speak for the decks that I haven't never ordered from her. I'll speak to Grimalkin's, Crowd Tarot, and Enchanted for Haxa, and why this one is very, very, in my opinion, superior. If I may say, it is a very powerful deck, and it feels different. The Crowd Terror feels to me like this is what I'm picking up on is that MJ stepping into terror territory, and there's kind of sharing her interpretations, but also seeking close to Rider-Waite-Smith without trying to blur too many lines. The Grimalkin tarot, and I don't really know which orders all came in, except the Crowd tarot came first. Grimalkin tarot is more, now there's playfulness. Now it feels like the way when I read guidebook that she's allowing or giving herself permission or just playful stepping outside the bounds and editing her own understanding to the meanings. The Enchanted Foxara is almost like a combination to me of, and it's also almost as if she's creating her own world in this one. With this, I feel like perhaps because it was created during a time of COVID, which for so many of us was a deep time of contemplation, transformation. A lot of us went deep within ourselves to search for things. A lot of us were confronted on a frontier of death and realization what death may symbolize to all of us. Some of us may have even lost loved ones to COVID. Some of us may have been terrified or scared for our loved ones, especially our loved ones working on the frontiers of a medical health profession or in the service industry. And so, COVID was definitely a place of destabilization for a lot of us. A lot of things happened during COVID for so many individuals. I know as a clinician that domestic violence went way up during the COVID because couples who had issues but were avoiding dealing with their issues because they were able to go to work suddenly had to confront those issues. And if there was already any kind of inclination of abuse, that abuse went through the roof. If there were kids in those families, they had to suffer to sustain that too. There was just I feel like there was a lot of things that we as humans tend to sweep under the rug came up during COVID in our personal lives, in our work lives, all across domains that we had to confront, our own relationships to ourselves. So I think that it was for some people who had been doing even more avoiding, it had been an incredibly destabilizing, challenging time. For some of us who are more insightful and have been doing work all along, it may have been still destabilizing, but maybe less so. Nonetheless, it was a challenging time for all of us. And so I feel that because the stack was created during that period of time, I really strongly feel those transformative energies, the energies of being able to look at something that is maybe difficult to look at, to be able to acknowledge it, to be able to sit with it, and to be able to step into that phase of needing to take responsibility and accountability for it as well. All of this I see in the stack, as well as compassion, love, empathy, through utilization of this incredible nocturnal creatures. Now, I want to show you some of it was hard to pick favorite cards because I literally loved the entire deck, but I just wanted to pick out some of them to give you some point of why I really appreciate her choice of these particular animals. to represent particular archetypal energies, particular card energies, and why I think that they are just so cleverly done, unlike any other animal deck. So this is Five of Cups. Now, as we know, Five of Cups can be, I usually call it a card of minor depression when we're feeling minor depression and gloom and doom, not in a clinical sense, this gloom and doom and sadness because something has happened to us and all we're seeing are the dark clouds inside of our headspace. And we're not really seeing how, first of all, how emotions are just other emotions, they come and go, and how we can bypass them. What I love about this Five of Cups is that she has this Desmos, right? Now she writes in a guidebook how the Desmos has gotten over the years negative association. This was the Desmos featured in Silence of the Lambs. People, when they see Desmos, they associate it with something negative is about to happen in their life. And at the same time, Desmos, first of all, mosses are transformation to begin with. And on top of that, they're attracted to light. So there is this guiding principle that this Desmos, even though immediately you see it, just like when you drop, when you have those three cups that shattered, you feel this this crippling paralysis, if you will, of fear. You may feel the same thing when you first see the Desmos. But if you just realize that the moss is attracted to light and it will also metaphorically lead you to light, and that there is a way out of the situation. I just love this, love this concept. I shared this one in my other video. This is the most fantastic Six of Pentacles I have ever seen. And she tells a story about this, let me look up the name of this person, because last time I got it wrong, guys. I was like trying to remember without the book. So she tells a story of how this card usually assumes symbiotic relationship, right? Give and take, equal relationship. And in here it is depicted with water buffalo. And it also depicted with oxpecker, and how oxpecker that's sitting on top of the water buffalo, so there's the oxpecker, they have a symbiotic relationship with the buffalo. The buffalo allows oxpecker to pick ticks off of it so it can eat the ticks and feed itself. And at the same time, the packer warns buffalo of any approaching danger. So it is, while symbiotic, it seems like fair trade. But she goes on to say, however, the oxpecker doesn't stop with the ticks. The bird also feasts on the water buffalo, picking beyond the tick and feeding on flesh and blood. And she goes on to say, and I know that sometimes when it comes to animals, it is hard for us to hear things such as this, for example, how, I was reading it at first and I thought, oh my God, this is so wonderful and cute. They have this symbiotic relationship. Oh shit, what? The packer's doing what? And then I see this little wounded on top of the oxtail, and it made me really sad for the ox. But the whole point of Six of Pentacles is that it forces us to question what is fair. What do we perceive as fair? What do we perceive as even balance? Even in Rider-Waite Smith's classic deck, where it is depicted as somebody, it looks like they're helping somebody, or they're giving mind to somebody, but there's still hierarchy depicted. One is above, one is below. So it really forces us to think about all of those things. And things in our life. Are we engaging in a fair trade? Are we really being honest and truthful? Are we taking more than we need to take? Are we getting greedy? I adore this. And this artwork is a testament why I fell in love with the deck. Look how prominent and really coming at you, the beautiful, this, buffalo is, it's really, really great. So just to give you an idea, I loved this. I'm going to look up because I'm pretty sure it is a pariah, but when it comes to animals and knowing animals, animals, species. Not my strongest suit, guys, let me tell you that. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you is this one. It's Knight of Swords Barracuda. See what I mean? Good thing I looked up. So this is a court card, right? And this is Knight of Swords. So we're looking at the energies that moves relatively quickly, that has a lot of movement to it. It doesn't sit still, so the Queen does, and it definitely doesn't sit solidly as the King does. And it doesn't walk calmly to deliver something to you the way Page does. Knights are often on horses. They're in movement, they're going somewhere. This is Barracuda. And I love this, how she talks about here describing Barracuda, but she really describing an essence of personality because, Barracuda has sharp teeth. And when they sneak. And Knight of Swords too. They can be so quick and so eager to share what they feel like they know that they may not take enough time to process things through and to really pause and to think about what is about to come out from their mouths. What a great way to remember symbolically Knight of Swords by thinking about this Barracuda next time you speak. I love that. Look at this. This Nine of Swords just really, it just made me so sad because before even I read it, I knew that she's trying to convey an anxiety and existential dread. This polar bear is sheltering her cub while she's looking over at the pollution and ice melting behind her, at everything that the mankind is doing to basically eradicate the future for her cub. Talk about a maternal anxiety toward your child, knowing that you may not be there to guarantee its safety or future. And even the Nine of Swords speaks about, just in my opinion, to this internal anxiety within ourselves. I love how this card puts us in a position to look at the anxieties that are man-made, that are humankind, I would say, not to make it all about man, humankind created, and how we also create things in our life that don't need to be there, that breed anxiety. In this case, if for this bear, it is something outside of their control because those things are created by human fellows, and there's nothing that they can do. But how often do we play part in a role of creating that anxiety for other species as well as our fellow humans? Like I said, this deck really puts you in this relationship with not only surrounding and other species and the planet and ecosystem and the collective, but also it puts you in a sort of crux of your own responsibility and what role you play with it as well. I love this Five of Wands. This Five of Wands came to me at a time when I had to do something and I really did not want to do something. And then I read the story of this beaver and I was just like, okay, I'm fucking doing it. So Five of Wands, right? This is so great. And you're probably already thinking how maybe, Five of Wands, usually it's like this competitiveness. Well, here she tells a story about how there's going to be drama in your life. There's going to be stuff happening in your life. You're going to wake up and you can have a wonderful day, and then something might happen to really change the trajectory of how your day is going. And how here, you know what, beaver has to go there and build their home. And a lot of times they have to be confronted with turbulent waters. And even though it is a challenge most of the time, beaver doesn't have a choice. They still have to go and attend to their task, regardless of how turbulent the waters are. And so again, here, it's that way of getting in touch with our own internal beaver, getting in touch with our own resourcefulness, of getting out there and getting things done, no matter what happens. Because guess what? Things are going to happen throughout the day. It's not a reason to throw in the towel, right? It's, if anything, it's a reason to keep going. Because a lot of times it's just like that one of the description of the card in Circle of Doors, why I love the guidebook so much. It says there for one particular card, and I think it actually Five of Cups. It says sometimes you don't realize how much strength you have until you have a resistance to push against. And that's exactly what this card symbolizes. Love that. Okay. When I saw Honey Badger for a chariot with all the chickens in the background, which I'm like, is Honey Badger just gonna go slaughter all the chickens? Well, I don't even need to read the book because first of all, I love chariot card. Second of all, Honey Badger. Do you all know little phrase, Honey Badger don't give a shit, Honey Badger don't care? Look up YouTube videos of honey badgers. They are unbelievable. They're so clever in their attempts. There's videos of them being in like particular captivity and how clever they masquerade to get out, especially if there's two of them. They get super creative. It's ridiculous. It's hilarious, the thing they come up with. They don't care about anything. Any obstacle is just an opportunity for them to tackle it. They will do the most ridiculous things. I think they're completely fearless creatures. And so when I saw this as a chariot, I started laughing because chariot, a lot of times when we see chariot, we're like, okay, yes, I got it. I'm going to go. I have all this energy. I'm going to follow my will. You know what's missing sometimes that we don't think about is this attitude. Honey Badger doesn't give a shit. Honey Badger don't care. And it doesn't mean that you have to take on that attitude and be dismissive toward or be mindless, completely mindless to everything and everybody around you. No, it just means that in that moment, you should only focus on this one particular thing. And whatever it is that comes, whatever it is that tries to interrupt you, you should be like a honey badger. Just keep on piling forward. I love that. Okay, few more. I pulled so many cards and that I thought, oh my God, if I'm going to go over throughout all of these cards, this is going to be such a long video. So Four of Pentacles, right? Again, this is such a great example of MJ using not one, but a relationship between multiple animals to tell a story. Here she talks about this fox that has caught all of these rabbits and now so paranoid and so terrified that these rabbits are going to run away from her, that she is, she's like using all of this energy to control, to hold on to these foxes without, rabbits, without realizing that there's more where it came from. There's more abundance. Where's your abundant mindset? You're so hyper focused on controlling this, what you have over here, missing the whole picture, including this whole world outside of you. I mean, come on. Can there be a better Four of Pentacles? Tell me, just tell me. At first, when I saw this, because Three of Swords is one of the cards in the decks where I think, okay, what are we going to get here? Again, a heart pierced. You have to read the story. This is a story about how people take advantage of our trust and hurt us. But it's a bigger story about animal tusks, elephant tusks, and how humankind whereas animals are so dependent on humankind too for safety and so many other things, but how humans are destroying the trust between the animals, how they are killing the species for their own, for God knows, we kill animals for fucking purses, for fuck's sake, really. And so she writes about when I thought about the heaviness of the Three of Swords energy and how it would relate in a deck full of beautiful creatures, my mind went straight to the poaching of elephant tusks. Something that continues today. I thought about the bond between humans and elephants and how greedy and cruel a person must be to break that trust. And that also makes me think about how people hurt people and how greedy and cruel we a lot of times become to go to such extent. Oh my God, I can't. Just so good. so painful. A lot of times we need decks, in my opinion, that are confrontational, that confront us with the things we're doing. And a lot of times we may think, well, I'm not doing it. I'm not going out there poaching animals, but somehow we're all contributing one way or another without even realizing. Does it mean we have to drop doing everything we're doing? No, but I do think that it does helps immensely to be more thoughtful, or in the very least, to be aware of the things that are taking place. Look at this one. This one is Nine of Wands. And what's interestingly is um, how she talks about this one as boundaries. This is a card of boundaries to her, how sometimes you take on so much that it's time to reassess, reevaluate your own boundaries. And again, a great juxtaposition between two animals. So these are some of my favorite. I, of course, was willing and eager to pull out just look at the artwork. I was willing and eager to pull out so many cards. Raccoon for magician, talk about resourcefulness. Talk about resourcefulness. These are incredible animals that are so resourceful and so clever. So yeah, I just can go on and on and on. But I really do think that this is, in my opinion, this is a deck that is a mass-produced production, one of the mass-produced decks that is overlooked, and perhaps it is overlooked because it is an animal deck. And some of us are just like me, looked at it and thought, oh, how many more spider webs do I need to see at the Wheel of Fortune, without realizing this is the very unique tarot deck, utilizing animals in a way where they tell their own story, the story of how they live, how they survive, how they make kinship, and how they persevere, and how closely those stories resemble our stories, and how much we can learn from animals. This is easily going to be my top 3, top 5. I cannot explain the immense connection I feel to this deck, the immense connection I feel to the animals in this deck, how much they have already taught me in a very short period of time. And if you have watching this and you had been on a fence, I would highly recommend this deck. If you've been wanting and craving to find an animal tarot deck that is unique and artistically beautifully rendered, this is going to be one of them. To me, this is definitely not Rider-Waite Smith. It is not a Zos. It is not a Marseille. It is MJ Cullinane story. It is MJ Cullinane connection to archetypes. And sometimes what we need is a deck where an artist shares their unique and deep connection to archetype in their own way, to make shifts and waves in us. Something that sometimes is so challenging to do with the decks we're so familiar with, where we just see the same old. This deck tells a new story. It makes you look at the cards differently. And to me, that is invaluable as a tarot reader. It is invaluable as a human being who tries and attempts to grow. So this is my in-depth review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have MJ decks, let me know what you think about them. Let me know which ones are your favorite. Let me know what you want with them. Let me know if you have the cats one, it makes me laugh when I see it. Share below what your thoughts are. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. I'd love to hear if you have those decks. And if any of you have also trimmed yours, let me know what you think about it. And if you haven't trimmed it, I want to say, I beg you to do it, but I'm not going to beg you to do it. I do genuinely think that the difference that it makes on the stack is ridiculous. But anyways, enough of that. So hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys all next time. Goodbye.